What's up, everybody? It's your boy AT2 here, and welcome to the show. This is a special episode because I have an interview with Secret Service Sam, aka Samson himself. We're gonna get into a lot of things because I know you guys are kind of here because of the whole situation with BJ and all that, but Secret Service Sam has had his own viral moment. So we're going to get into all that. But first, let's go ahead and play the intro, and then I'll allow more people to get in the room. But first, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. And let's get into it, y'all. Here we go. What's up, everybody? I know y'all tired of hearing me talk already, so let me go ahead and bring the man of the hour up. What's up, Secret Service Sam? How you doing?
Hey, how are you doing, Andre? Now, I feel like we owe it to the people to let them know that I thought we had been live, and so you and I were just talking, and then you go about like 5 minutes into the conversation, you're like, hey, Sam, okay, let's start this show now. I was like, oh, man, we were killing it. We were killing it.
Right, it was good too. You gave all the tea
good.
before we even got to the show. I was like,
Right.
oh man, he don't even know that we're not live right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm excellent. I just wanted to first tell you, thank you. When I saw your video, it just didn't make me feel crazy. And so people know, I'm always in this line. I've been covering this trial for the entirety of the trial since jury selection. Wall Street Journal did an article on me. New York Times did an article on me. And so I've been there. And this particular day with BJ, it was just, I witnessed the behavior. I'm a stand-up comedian, so I'm very good at reading body language. And here's something people don't understand with all these influencers, people say, oh, you're pro Diddy or that, just because I was in there telling them what was happening, that court cases aren't fair. A lot of people, if you ask about OJ, they'll say he did it, but he got off for it because he had excellent lawyers. So, this particular day, like I was saying, as a comedian, we operate on honesty. So I'm sitting here witnessing all of this behavior, and we'll get into some of that. But I just want to let people know just who I am. You see who I am. Somebody said, oh, Sam, you're so excited on that video. And I was on family vacation. And when I saw the post that BJ put up, calling these women haggard, demonic, and these are nice women, intelligent. One is a college professor. Then they went on, she did another post where she made these women an AI, which I'll pull it up because I just want people to know. BJ said she needs months to come up with her receipts. I gave it to you. I gave it to you the next day. I was not going to say anything about this because that's not the type of person I am. I sat there, I heard her. I had my dog. She's like, oh my God, there's a whole ass dog right there. And instantly I knew who this woman was, And so here's the pictures that she put up. And these are, that's
this is on her community wall, you guys. It's on her community wall. This is not nothing made up.
No, and she's defaming my friends. She's defaming us and explaining the line. This is not your grandma's line to get into the Diddy trial. This is a Hunger Games line. I explained to Andre before we got on that when I first showed up, you're all nice and this and that, but that you lose your place in line. And let me explain how the Diddy line works. First, you're outside. You either hire a line sitter for anywhere from $500 to $600 a night. Then you show up and take his place, but you still have to fend off transient people who don't believe that you're the one supposed to be in the line after you paid $500.
Right. And just think about that. People were paying that every day. You even told me like you were all like, oh no, I gotta come myself now. That's
Right.
a lot
That's
of
what happened. I
money.
couldn't afford. Shout out to Kay, the line sitter. He is my man. He also provided security. I had been
Oh, okay.
assaulted in that line, filed a police report where a guy took my phone and smashed it on the ground. That same guy, the first day I pulled up to the line, I had my line sitter. And the night before I met him, I was in a hoodie. I came back in my
Mhm.
suit. This guy's like filming, you're a piece of all this cursing at me, this dude. I'm like, whoa, I'm chewing on my breakfast sandwich. And he goes, I hope you choke and die on that. Choke and die. And I'm just like, Andre, this is freaking 4 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm used to taking my kids to school, going on a run in the morning, real peaceful. I'm a peaceful man. I want people to know that about me.
Right.
And so this line, to just get in, you have to go through the Diddy verse to get into the actual courtroom. So that's the line, say from like 2 a.m. till about 7:45, 8 a.m. They get us into the other line in front of the court building. You're
Right.
sitting in direct sunlight, and that's when the arguments can happen. Okay.
Oh.
And at that point in the line, Mike, who it's Michael Blackshire. Let me pull up. We're just pulling receipts today.
Yeah. And
And I
shout out
tried
to
to get
Mike.
a
I
hold
did
of
reach
him.
out to him, but he hasn't responded yet. So,
Okay.
but I did reach out to him.
And just stop me if I'm yapping out because I'm just trying to get this out. So that is Michael Blackshire. He's an amazing photographer. Go
Mhm.
follow him. Amazing journalist. So in this line, the third part of the line, actually, you got the homeless line, Hunger Games line. Then we get into where the court officers, U.S. Marshals, as BJ was calling them, um, they come into it and they're like, "There's no arguing today. There's no arguing," because like one time the guy who assaulted me sold his
Mhm.
spot in line because he slept there, right? So we show up no matter what, he's there. Sold it to this lady, but we're like, he's
Mm.
not allowed in the court building. So then we got to fight with that woman. She's like, I paid $300. No, I have a place in line. And you're like, sorry, miss, you don't, because that guy
Right.
is a liar and he is selling you a line in the seat in the line that he does not have. Does that make sense?
Oh, so they were scamming people, basically saying they can guarantee them a spot, but really they were playing them the whole time, just trying to get money.
Because the guy's banned from the court building because that's the guy who a long story, but he had this homeless guy, Jimmy. Jimmy, the day before, had a 2x4, okay? 6 foot
Mm.
long 2x4. There's all the top media journalists, mostly females in line. He's swinging it all around, right? My
What?
line sitter, yeah, it's insane. And he's smashing on the ground, woods flying everywhere, 5 a.m., mind you. And my line sitter, Kay, goes over. He was always the one. Kay was like my line sitter, but also security. Diffuse the situation because this guy Jimmy hated this guy John, who is
Mhm.
he's the guy. He's also suing me for a
Yeah, that's
hundred
the one
million
suing
dollars. I mean, it's like it's freaking crazy, man.
me.
That's what BJ does not understand. Like you didn't just come into any line. You came into history. You know what I mean? And you
Right.
showed up and you acted all entitled. And I know I'm throwing a lot out for you guys. I got ADHD. But Diamond, the woman she called a demon, she kept the line. She is the one that we all trusted when I get there at 2 a.m. Diamond, I
Mm.
am here. Okay, Sam, you are number 6. With thank you, because we are fighting for our lives, literally, for this place in line. So the last
Right.
thing you want to do, like Mike Blackshire, slept there all night. He was there before us. I pulled up. He's sitting
Wow.
in a chair, just
Just slumped over. Wow.
in
Y'all were
his
serious
camping
about being
chair,
in
and
line.
all of his camera equipment. And there's people, homeless. And I'm not saying homeless. I'm just, these are like drug addict, mentally ill people who are partying all night. We have videos of them passed out cold, and then that's the same guy who serves me papers for $100 million lawsuit. The one guy is like, has rollerblades over his head, threatening to hit somebody. The homeless guy, Jimmy. Going back to it,
Right.
Jimmy comes up one morning. He goes, I'm going to hit John over the head with a metal pipe. So shh, snitches and stitches. And okay, 5 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, mind you. And I'm just like, okay, like whatever, dude. He goes over, starts to assault this guy, John. John gets up. Jimmy takes John's phone, spikes it on the ground. It's all on video. I have all of this recorded on my page. And so then John calls the cops on Jimmy, comes over. The cops said, you guys saw it. You're my witnesses. And mind you, this is the guy who told me to choke and die on a sandwich the first day I met him. So I'm like, I want no part of this. I'm like, like at some point, has anybody ever woke up with 1 hour of sleep and you're sitting out there with mosquitoes and rats and people attacking you and still kept a nice attitude? It's very hard.
Right. And what's the earliest you ever got there before?
1:30 a.m.
Oh, shit.
It's insane. So imagine, and I'm in a suit. I'm in my suit, La Contento NYC, shout out. I'm their brand ambassador. So to make you understand why my cell phone was spiked and I had the police report, John and Queen Shakur, who you were talking about, she's a good friend of mine. Queen Ahmadiyah Shakur. John comes up to us. He goes, hey, my phone got spiked. Now everybody's is. So he comes up, grabs it, goes, bam. And we're like, what the? Queen is like, oh no. I'm just like, what is going on? I'm half awake. Like, luckily my phone was okay. But so we called the police, filed a police report because the court officers, the U.S. Marshals, whatever court officers are inside, said if you file a police report and give us the number, then we can ban him from the court building. And that's what Queen and I did. So like, okay. I have the numbers I can show. You know what I mean? And John was banned from the building. So long-winded, it's just...
So question, so the police weren't just out there the whole time? Like, it was like literally fend for yourself?
Fend for yourself until about maybe 7 a.m. or 7:30 a.m.
And that's y'all wanted me to go to that damn court. Hell no, I ain't going there.
No. And like I said, so what happened at the verdict, they still let the press have the list, sign up. You don't gotta sleep out there and be out there. You're good. But the public, they still made us fight. And that's something that I was upset with the court building. And I can't tell you how many times I had to go over to the marshals, and I'm not carrying out. I'm going over that. I'm telling you, he's threatening women in line. There's dangerous people. There's a guy swinging a 2x4. There was one guy who got arrested swinging an 8-ball in a sock, yelling, homophobic slurs and terrible things. And you're just like, you're sitting there just praying that you will not get hurt. So when BJ came into this line and then she made this post, which, I don't know if you want me to read her post to like, if anybody
go ahead and read it.
Because it's just like, that's what boiled my blood with her is that, we were the ones who've been dealing with this, and we're all very cool people. And there has to be something when I've already provided almost 4 or 5 different people's testimony, and she says she's going to take months. I just want people to think about that.
Yeah. And shout out to Celebrity Scandalous, because she came to my channel. She wasn't there for the lying situation, but she was there for the situation at the table. So that was a whole separate issue. So that even more or less proves like, okay, there was some tension and there was something going on. And like T said, she said she was cool with all those women. She was like, they were so sweet, so nice. There's another one by the name of Shanoa who was in my chat and said those women were so sweet, so nice. So, the perception is because this woman has a larger platform talking about BJ, whatever she says goes. And so you're just kind of seeing like her fan base say certain things and she's not checking it. But my thing was like, before you read it, I want to let you know when I seen it. So I seen it and I was like, huh. something seems off about this. I didn't like it too much. I was like, it's a lot of microaggressions in here. I don't like it, but hey, I wasn't there. Let me mind my business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I was watching another YouTuber by the name of Popcorn Planet, and he was like, yeah, I had to check on BJ, you know, and blah, blah, blah. And he was all like, yeah, that lady in the wig, you see the lady in the wig, which is total microaggression towards the black.
Yeah, I didn't like some of the people in her comments were talking about the features of Diamond or her hair. And honestly, once I saw this post, once I saw it, and you know, I've had people, some of her fans come to me like, Sam, you're trying too much, or you're, you know, this and that. And they don't know my history. You know, I'm a stand-up comedian who Guy Torrey, Joe Torrey got me my start. I've been in the black community of comedy my entire career. I produced Tiffany Haddish's first stand-up special. And I'm not like just being white. I'm not being white trying to name my black friends or anything like that.
Yeah,
but I'm
though
trying
you
to
did,
let you know that even though I did. So, but I'm trying to let you know. And Donnell Rollins is a good friend of mine now. I've never met Obama. But, you know, I'm just trying to let people know where my heart lies. That when this did not happen to me, I just was there. And do you know how, like, when you witness domestic violence in a way, or some people are talking uncomfortably and we kind of look the other way and ignore it because it's not our business, you know, but I felt it, and I saw the group of my friends, you know, JC, Diamond, Charlene, Queen, a group of black women, and I saw her, and the minute they were just, all we were trying to say to her, because okay, and I know I'm jumping around, we get into the final stage of the line, okay? You go through security, and here's what people don't understand what happens through security. If you're somebody who has a lot of stuff, metal goes off. What I know to do, I have my stuff ready. I have security go, my watch, it comes off. I get in, they give me the one token. I hold my phone out. Everything else is in my jacket pockets already. I grab my jacket. I run to the coat check, which is where you check your phone. I grab the golden ticket. It's a golden little coin. And then you run to the final line. The final line is where you can do all those steps outside, sleep outside, pay all this money all night. And somebody like BJ can come in and get into that 11th spot in this case when Michael Blackshire, he had all his camera equipment, so it took them a lot of time to check him through security. We all honor that line at this point, that we understand security. Some people, it takes longer. You know, and like I said, it is a game. So even though you were out there all night, you could go through security, take forever, and all of a sudden you were number 5 in line, and you're now number 15, and you're not getting in the courtroom.
Right. So what you guys were trying to do was basically protect him to where he could still get it, like hold his spot, so where he
that's what we do.
In.
That is the list. That is we Diamond is managing that list, and that's why we trust her to do that. So even when we get into there, and that's when the one U.S. Marshal,
not a whole bunch, just
one U.S. Marshal came up, because we're all like, so we're in this, right? And imagine there's like, it's a club, you have like, or the airport, you know, they have the little things, you're in the line, 11 people. So Michael comes in with all his camera stuff, and he's like, hey man, and he's telling her, he's like, I was 11, you know, I'm on the list, come on. She's like, no, you weren't. I don't care. No, you weren't.
Wow.
She pulled the attitude right away. No, I'm not giving it. Because, and look, let's be fair to BJ. She had never been there, hadn't been. So I understand she was getting in the courtroom no matter what in her head. Yeah. But in our heads, and in most people's head, integrity and honesty matters. And Mike is saying, like, but I slept out there. And he's telling the marshals, like, come on, man, I slept outside. I was ahead of her. All of us, myself, Queen, everybody, Diamond, are like, you know, U.S. Marshal, this is true. I even went over to him because they pulled me over to talk to me about my dog, because I had the service animal, first dog to ever make it in to the federal courtroom, by the way. Cookie, she's famous now.
Shout out to Cookie.
Yeah, shout out to Cookie. So I went over and had a private conversation with him. He was talking to me about the dog. I'm like, we're good. I got a dog sitter. We're all set, because it was still disruptive. I could have made it mandatory they let me in with my dog, but I wasn't. I wasn't trying to do that. But in that conversation, I said, I do want to let you know, Michael was ahead of BJ. He was number 11, and you guys should honor that because she is lying about it. I come back from that conversation. Oh my God, they're attacking me. They're attacking me. BJ. And I'm sitting here, mind you, 1 hour of sleep. So I don't have a lot of patience, but I was like, Mike was ahead of you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now they ended up letting Mike into the courtroom. There was a
Okay.
spot. So thankfully, but the point is her bad behavior, none of this would have happened if she would have been honest, because she would have gotten in and we would have supported that. We would have been like,
Right.
girl, how she does, girl. We would have been like, okay, you know what? That, we're gonna fight for you. Cool. Her husband or fiance, it seemed cool. We weren't trying to start anything. But when this post came out of nowhere, and to everyone asking if I'm okay, I'm getting there. But yesterday I definitely was not in all caps, and I will be recovering for a while. And that's why it's important for me, Andre, when people are asking about me, who's Sam, who's this white dude, it is very important for me to protect Black women. It is very important for me when I see a woman using her whiteness as she did. They're attacking me. This U.S. Marshal believed her and kept her in line. And that is the part that angered me most, because I had to watch my friends accept that. And I had to watch her knowingly use her whiteness to have the advantage. And so that's why nothing happened to her.
She would have still got in either way. Like, that's the thing. She didn't even have to do the whole, oh, well, this is my spot. Like, she would have
if she would have let go and let God, like she acts, all this spiritual stuff she's saying. And it's like, she's calling us demons. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's why
Sam, I'm gonna even challenge you on that. I don't even think she calling you a demon. She calling those two Black women a demon.
She's not. But that's what I want people to understand. I'm not even part of this. But and I know I sound worked up because it's not fair. It's not fair that because she's a white woman, and I know it sounds funny coming from somebody like me, but that's why I'm worked up, is because she's able to get people to believe my friends are demons because they're Black women. And people in the comments asking her about her hair and wigs and on what does that have anything to do with it? And then doing pictures of her as a demon. I'm not okay with that.
And why does she have to post pictures of them? That's what I don't understand. Like, you could have just told the story and it just been a story.
I know.
He posted pictures of them.
Diamond took a picture of her, and her husband's like, why are y'all taking pictures? And she's like, because you guys took a picture of me, and that was this picture.
And then that's
what she was building the story. We had no clue at the time, but she had taken the picture. So Diamond I was right there. Diamond goes, oh, I'm going to take a picture. I was like, why? She's like, because they just took a picture of me. I was like, okay. And then they take it, another post, a second post. Look how disgusting this is. JC, right here, she paid a line sitter a lot of money. You know what I mean? To be there. And that's and these are educated, smart women. And so, that's why I get upset. There's the history of white women. Exactly. Somebody just said the dog whistle, and people get killed over these things. And that's why
a lot of her fan base feels like it needs to be like direct, like she needs to say something towards Black people. And it's all like, no, racism is never that simple. Like,
no,
I mean, it can be, but it's the dog whistles as far as like calling them haggard women, and then the things that her people in her chat was saying, then her the main thing, like, oh, I'm not okay, but I'm getting there. And it's all like, so let me ask you this. Did anybody put their hands on her?
What? No.
Yeah, like,
no,
because I'm all like,
not even close. Not even close. If anything, and you see how worked up I am, and I want to apologize to people who are like, it's just, this is how worked up I am, because I sat there and I watched her do this with her energy. And I saw somebody in your comments, or somebody in my comments, said she can't be a racist. Her fiance is Indian. Well, let me tell everybody something. I'm Jewish, and I got in-laws that are racist, or You know what I mean? Or I got
Yeah.
family that everybody knows somebody. And just because you're married to somebody who doesn't look like you does not mean you're not racist. That's no excuse for her
Right.
behavior. And what she did do is she cried wolf so quickly, and she used her power of her YouTube platform. Yeah, right. Hey, Measured Man, I want to give a shout out to you
Yeah.
because
Shout out to
I
Measure
saw
Man.
you're the one, man. I saw you in the comments, and everything I was thinking and feeling you were saying, and it really validated it because a lot of people like say as a white man, "Oh, Sam, you're just race baiting," or "Why do you care?" and they try to say I'm trying too much or I'm trying to fit in. And it's
Hmm.
like, I'm really just protective over my friends. And when I saw
Right.
her come out of her way attacking them, I just felt it in my heart where I had to let people know that is not the truth. So no,
Right.
she was never attacked, never a hand lifted. You know, people were like, well, dude. There was a lot of back and forth because she was lying. And we were just telling her, be honest. You were not 11, you were 12. Be
Right.
honest. That's
And
all
you
we were saying.
still
She's
would
like,
have got
no.
in
She's
either
like, you
way.
can give up your spot. Y'all can give up your spot.
Just like that. That's what she did.
That's what she did. I'm giving you the reenactments.
But
And then
then,
she just did this. Y'all, y'all, y'all. She throws a lot of y'alls around. And then she said to my dog, oh my God, that's a whole ass dog right there. Oh my God. Mind you, I'm just on an hour of sleep. So, like, Sam is still coming awake. You know, I'm a comedian. So a lot of
right.
times I'll sit there and process I already had her dissected for who she was. She had her shawl on, you know, her Indian husband. She's Indian now too. She had her black scent on, overextension, a lot of grabbing at the winds, you know what I mean? And I just want to be real about it. And if
Right.
she has the receipts, where are they? Because stop defaming my friends. And here's something. I was only there in the line. I didn't witness the table. So it's not like, oh,
Mm.
Sam's the through line, just fucking, trying to instigate. I just feel like I have to speak up for these women because it's very easy for people to believe. Some of the people in her comments are so dumb that they thought those pictures of them as the devil were real.
What?
Uh-huh. They thought some of the comments think those people are real. Wow, they came in costumes. They really are Diddy.
See,
There's
and
some
here,
evangelical weird, thing going on down in the
yeah,
bayou
that's
of
also
Miss
what I
Bay
didn't like
J.
either.
I'm a lawyer, y'all. I'm a lawyer. And look, I wasn't trying to rip on her. I know I was because I'm a comedian, but I had to let out. I had to vent, you
Right,
know?
because some people were upset when you were talking about her looks and stuff like that, but
I know.
I got it
And I
because you were
apologize for that.
right. You were defending your friends. And by the way, Diamond, JC, they didn't say anything bad about her. They just told their story. They
Right.
didn't say anything like about her looks or anything like that. It was literally just you. So, and then there's still people that I see in the comments all like, oh, they ratchet, they this and that. No, they didn't
Right.
raise their voice not one time. The
No,
women
Diamond,
sounded
look,
so
let me
sweet,
tell you something.
articulate, and
Yeah. Diamond talks like this. She does not raise her voice one bit. She is Sam. She talks like this. I've never heard her raise her. And we've had different conversations. We've had disagreements throughout the time because, a lot of things we get pinned against each other in the past. And that's why there's been this alliance that's been formed.
Oh,
So no,
Measurement
she
said
doesn't.
no, she isn't. She has a bar card.
Right. Yeah, she's not a lawyer. Yo,
Oh,
I know way more lawyers. I'm way more lawyered up than she is. I'll tell you that.
right. You're gonna need one for that $100 million lawsuit.
I know, yeah. So that's the thing. And then do you also know I really got blown up on TikTok when there was private investigators that came to my back door
Yes.
and threatened me and said, who is if somebody is paying you to make these anti Diddy, they thought celebrity videos, we will
Hmm.
pay you more to stop. And I'm like, dude, nobody's paying me. I just got big on TikTok because I did a sketch in an Oval Office. And when I was done, it was right after the Trump, and I get on there. I'm like, I did my job. I jumped on our president. What did you do? And everybody's like, you suck. They're like, you're a DEI. And so it became this character, Secret Service Sam. And then
Yeah.
it started going to, I've been doing comedy journalism for over a decade. So it just finally, this whole thing snapped together. And then
Right.
I started picking up all the Diddy stuff, like Steve Harvey and Diddy and like DJ Khaled. And I'd pick up interviews where like Diddy said to DJ Khaled when they first met, we can't even talk about it, but all we can say is he got a trunk full. And I'm like, I don't know what happens when another man makes another man's trunk full, but I can only imagine what that means. You know, we got another one. We got another one. That's where they came up with their slogan. So I just start doing videos like that, playing into the folklore. But then once it came to the trial, people are like, Sam, you're like, they're like, you're CNN for us now. You're Fox. We trust you. So then I had to switch to, and then when I went into the courtroom, here's something interesting to let people know. I don't like Diddy's behavior. It's disgusting. I hate people talking down to women. It's my pet peeve. If you know me, I don't accept it. I stick up for women. I'm the one who in the line had to go talk to a homeless guy yelling at women in line and settle. You know, I don't have the patience for it. And it's just like, oh, I lost it. Sorry, I was on one. Where'd I go with it? Sorry, my ADHD. Sorry, guys.
You were getting into how people look at you for like real like CNN and they trust you.
Exactly. The trust. So it's, you know, oh man, I think I lost it. Damn, Sam Sativa. I was on such a run too.
Well, let me ask you this. So do you feel like how do I put it? Do you feel like, okay, now that people look at
I got it. I was sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I'm sorry. So that was the courtroom. Okay. Sorry, Sam. I know. What happened is I was based off all this folklore, and I was guilty of spreading the folklore. The kids, the Alley Carters, the everything, the Jaguar Wrights, the Courtney Burgess, the 11 terabytes of freak offs. I thought this whole thing was Diddy having sex with men, emasculating them. They were high-powered men. He calls up dude at MTV and he's like, we need another season of Making the Band. He's like, I don't know about that. He's like, I do know about that, Jeremy. Remember the freak off? And he's like, okay, congrats. And Diddy's like, I close it. I always close it. That's what I pictured the racketeering was. He was, you know, Justin Bieber. What happened to the Usher? What happened to LeBron? What happened to Meek Mill? Oh, hey, daddy. Hey, daddy. You know, Meek Mill in the pool video. Yeah, you put in that work, daddy. But then somebody testified saying he had a Tootsie Roll. So then I came inside the court building and I heard the fact, at least, that were allowed to be presented. And there was no celebrities. The only celebrities were Michael B. Jordan because he was dating Cassie. Mike Myers because Capricorn Clark, I think it was Capricorn Clark, used to be his assistant. You know, so there were no celebrity freak-offs with all this crazy thing. There was one
Kid Cudi did testify, but he wasn't in a freak-off. He was dating Cassie, the Kid Cudi.
Exactly. So all the folklore. So that's one thing I had to realize. And I think Rock Nation is who sent the private investigators to my house because I had found out when I saw Tony Busby's Instagram that it was the same guys who had visited me. And Tony Busby had claimed they were from Rock Nation to discredit him and get his clients. They were paying his clients allegedly $10,000 to file a lawsuit against Tony Busby to discredit all the civil lawsuits against Diddy.
Oh, wow. So you noticed like it was like the same guys as the ones that Tony Busby was claiming.
Right. Look at this.
Because I was going to ask you, was there any
does everybody see Tony Busby? That's his Instagram. Does everybody see this guy in the glasses right here?
Yeah. And that was the same one that came to your house.
That's my house.
Whoa!
So I'm sitting there on Instagram like, Dude, Sam, you are part of this trial. So the Wall Street Journal calls me up when the trial's about to start and like, hey, Sam, they just email me. They're like, are you going to be covering the trial? Because we want exactly no children or rituals either. None of that was in the court. Sam, are you going to be coming to cover the trial? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, because if you are, we'll shadow you. So that's why I started to cover this
Whoa.
trial. The Wall Street Journal was going to cover me, then the New York Times. I'm really the top independent journalist on this. There's Armand Wiggins, Emily
Mm-hmm.
Knows Everything,
Mm-hmm.
myself. There's Tisa Tells. There's Trent Out Loud. Now, some people think there's Ratchet TV.
Mm-hmm.
There's Queen. There's Queen in it. There's there's a lot of there's
So
Aloha
many
live streaming
limbs making no
outside.
sense.
T Harris outside. So there is a group of us outside there, and then there's this friend. Some people think Tisa Tells is working for the prosecution. She had security there. She had a barrier around her. Some people.
Yeah.
That's why you saw Ratchet TV and some of them going up to her at the end. Like the end of camp. Everybody's like, we're not going to see him
Yeah.
again. I'm going to tell him how I really
I
feel.
said it was like the last day of high school. That's
It
how it
was
seemed on the
exactly.
last day.
So everybody's
Yeah.
like Tisa. They felt I like Tisa. She was always nice to me. I don't really
Yeah.
judge how we all deliver this entertainment. There's Nancy Grace or there's whoever you like to listen
So did
to.
you think she was a Fed?
I thought I don't think Tisa is a Fed, but
Yeah.
I do think she's higher. I think she's part of ABC and works for them because she has
Mm.
pictures on her account. They were doing several, videos. You can see I wasn't picked up by
Mhm.
all of the media sources necessarily because I'm a comedian telling the truth. You know what I mean? And that's
Right.
why people have gravitated towards me. I'm the only comedian covering this. And I came in there, want to be like, Diddy is done. We're going to hear, oh my God, I can't wait to hear about LL Cool J was in a freak
Yeah.
off too. Like, oh man, like Tyra Banks, who? And it was none of that. And I
Right.
started to realize that this was potentially a smear campaign on a black celebrity. And then I was one of the first to come out after Don Richard's testimony. And I was like, guys, I just don't know if this is a RICO. I was like, it's terrible, disgusting domestic violence. You know what
Right.
I mean? It's disgusting. But these are, I've had friends who have had black eyes from their husbands and everything, and they're still out there. It's not,
And
that's where
that's
people
the
didn't
thing
understand.
too, because this kind of goes back into how, and I made this post a long time ago, well, not a long time, like a month ago, where I was saying, like, when it comes to black celebrities and when they do something wrong, I don't mind calling them out. But now
Okay.
I'm going to go in with an open mind because I've been noticing that there will be a lot of the others, and I'm just going to say it, white commentators that are like, yeah, this person is horrible, blah, 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 blah. But they don't talk about the Mike Jeffries, the CEO from Abercrombie and Fitch that was
Right.
trafficking those
That
models.
part. I mean,
Y'all
that's
need to
something
go in
I'm
on him. Like,
right. Right. Exactly. And I think that's part of it. And that was something Armand Wiggins, we had that conversation early on. They said,
mm,
Sam, you're one of the only white journalists covering this, and people trust you. For people who don't know, I had a little controversy where Donat, the YouTuber,
oh,
and
that
Gene
Danette
Deal got
guy,
into an
yeah.
altercation. And so we all come out of the court being like, did you hear? Did you hear? Donat got knocked out by Gene Deal. I'm a comedian. I'm like, okay. I'm like, dang, this dude just got knocked out. Do. And it turned into, oh, Sam, you're just trying to lie on a black man and all this. And Armand told me, and I understand that I'm in a suit. People trust my word. And so as a white content creator covering a black celebrity, I have a weight on my shoulders to be honest about that and not be like you're saying, somebody dipping into the cause like, oh, another black man, and and trashing black
Mm-hmm.
people. That's not what I'm about. But he let me know that I have to be careful because that's how I'm going to be perceived.
Perceived,
Is
yeah.
that I'm coming in, surfing on top of the culture to get the story, woohoo, and then I'm gone. But they don't know who I
Right.
am. They don't know my whole life has been invested. My whole entire comedy career in Los Angeles has been invested in the black culture of comedy. You know what I mean? And entertainment. And that's where I will stay because it's the most underserved part of comedy. Black comedians are our greatest comedians. But There's hardly any Black comedy club owners. There has to be. I
Right.
only perform on Black nights in LA.
Wow.
Why? I'm white and
And
Jewish.
so,
What's
yeah, so
wrong
they
with
will book
me?
you on the Black nights and not the.
Yeah.
Wow.
Shout out to D. Ray Davis, Monday.
Oh,
The
D-Ray.
only time I get booked at the Improv is Mondays. And also I produce Donnell Rawlings' live podcast, and I'm on that with him. So we do that monthly at the Improv, and then I'm there. But that's why when you see my passion, like I said, for the women, my friends, that's because it's my duty to step up like this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And be a voice for this there shouldn't have to be Black nights at comedy clubs.
Right.
I did. Okay.
That's crazy.
And here's something.
Thing.
Okay. Queen Amadaya Shakur. Shout out to her. Make sure you're following her, because we here, and I don't mean to take over your show at all, but we are coming with more receipts. Are you guys ready for more receipts? Because I have Mike's phone number. He has agreed to come on to talk on the phone.
Oh, okay.
Mike Blackshire. Okay, just so you guys know about me. Anybody who doubts it. Hey, Mike. Hey, this is Samson. I'm just letting you know we are on the live, so I just want to make sure. Are you okay to talk to us and just give your side of what happened to you? No, it's not your face. You're on the phone, so you can go ahead. Can you hear him, Andre?
Ask him to say something.
Yeah, say hello.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I can hear him.
Okay, great. Mike, if you don't mind, I was explaining to people how the line works. You had been sleeping in line all night. You were number 11 in the line. Honestly, I think you were probably higher up on that because you were there before me. But I just want to...
Yeah.
So I
think I was number 7 or 8.
Okay, yeah. So I just would like you to tell your testimony on what happened, because she is spreading a completely different version, and I just want the truth to be heard.
Yeah, so basically, from what I recall, I was there all night with my lawn chair. Probably the fourth night in a row I've done that. So I'm not trying to pay $200 to pay John or somebody to keep a place for me, or anybody. It can be the seat holder dudes. I mean, I can't pay $200, so I stay all night. So in the morning time, as soon as I wake up, I think that's around the time she comes, around 7. And I don't know if somebody promised her a seat or she paid somebody.
Her fiance was waiting there, and he was holding her spot in line.
Okay. Well, in the morning, she was complaining about whatever it was. It sounds like her fiance wasn't 11. He might have been 13.
Yeah, he was not in the top. No, he wasn't, because he came after us. Mm-hmm.
Things they were there, and they just wanted to get her on birthday, but I think they assumed the first 15. I don't think they realized only the first 11 get in, because I think about 2 a.m. he wasn't there yet. So by the time it was the morning, he was there. I just remember she was already antsy when she realized she wouldn't be able to get inside. So it's a lot of back and forth with the women. She's going back and forth with the women already, saying she deserves to be inside. Then when we get inside, she's already plotting. So they it's a federal court building. So I think it's probably.
Can you hear him?
Tell him to repeat that part.
Yeah, he has a lot of equipment. He said, "Yeah, make sure you."
And they're always answering. They want to look at every single piece of equipment you got. So then, that takes probably about 4 minutes. But every other time I've been that way, usually the person that we promised to keep the line the way it was outside, like the military. We hold the floor, we hold the line. But when I get with them, try to go into the first 11, you realize she was the last one. I think, maybe they were at 12 in. And she's saying that she's number 11. And this guy named Jesus, Puerto Rican guy, was like, "Oh, no, you can get in. You're not the top 11. And he said, "I don't care what the line was outside. I don't care how it was last night. You're not getting in." And she has this grin. Like, "Yeah, you better tell him. You better tell him. You better tell him. Even if his name,
RJ, who sleeps in the tent. Can you hold on? I just want to make sure. Can you hear him? Can you see in your chat if they can hear him?
The sound is kind of distorted. Like it
Let me
kind
take
of goes
off.
in and out. Oh, he got his the iPhone. Okay, that's what it is. It's mute.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, I can hear you.
Okay, good. So you'll be able to hear Mike. So can you see if everybody's been able to hear him, just so we make sure we're getting this through to people?
Okay.
Like, are people in the comments saying they can't hear it?
Yeah, they were saying that the audio wasn't great.
Okay, here we go. Mike, just try to start a little bit. Just rewind a tiny bit.
We got to the equipment part, and then
okay, we got to the equipment part. Okay, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
Oh, got to the equipment part. So basically, when I go inside,
turn it up.
People always keep the line the way it was outside. It's like you hold the fort, like a military. That's what we do every single day. Any other day, if I'm not like the first 11 to get there to the waiting line, people always say this is his line. He's number 7. He's number 6. It doesn't matter because it takes 2 or 3 minutes for him to get through because of the equipment. He doesn't just have a phone and a wallet. So when I get there, I go in, and this guy named Jesus, one of the marshals, Puerto Rican guys, like, oh, no. Oh, you get in the back. You get in the back. You get in the very back. And I was like, no, I'm number like 7 or 8 in line. And they're like, no, you get in the back. You get in the back. And I forget his name, the one guy that's, I don't know if he's Latino or Mexican too, or Puerto Rican. He was number 11 outside. And behind her is the one woman, I don't remember her name right now, the YouTuber. And she's like grinning and smiling. She's like, yeah, you better tell him. You better tell him. And she refuses to tell the truth and admit that she was not the first 11 in line. Right. That's what the women were saying. Yeah, go ahead, Mike. Yeah. And that's when all the women were starting to defend me. RJ started defending me. He never talks. RJ was like, hey, actually he was. When RJ said something, that's when the marshal was like, okay, let him in. Because when it was all the black women and stuff, he was like, oh, whatever he's talking about. I don't believe. I promise you. He said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happened outside. It doesn't matter what happened last night. She's number 11. That's it. That's what he was saying until RJ stepped in. And you stepped in, and then the marshal started listening a little bit. I know. And that's kind of the part, Mike, that I was upset about why I came out, and to point out to people, partially is because the way I look. RJ is homeless and sleeps out there in the tent, and you see he was able to, now mind you, he's been there through the Trump trial. He is this mysterious guy who just loves to go to these trials, and he's always number 1 or 2 in the line, next to Ron, the time traveler, the other white dude. But that's kind of the point that irked me out, and it hurt me seeing, because I wasn't a part of it. I just witnessed it with you guys, and I saw you, Mike, in the line, and I want you to talk about it too, how you were telling her behind her, like, yo, come on. You know what I mean? And she was like, y'all can give up your place in line. You know how she was saying to the other women. Oh, yeah. She was like, what, from Louisiana? She's like, y'all can give up y'all place in line.
It's low.
I was like, no, like this is like evil. Like lying like this on the last day, the verdict day, is not right. That's not cool at all. Then she went off, and once she started going off with me, I'm about to be quiet. I'm a black man. This white woman's yelling at me, so I'm not gonna say anything. So I put my head down, kept quiet. Now, Mike, can everybody hear that?
Yeah, I heard him say.
That's something we really need to point out here. To a woman who's saying that she was attacked, that she's not okay, Mike, a grown-ass man, had to say, let me be quiet and put my head down, because he's right. He would have gotten kicked out.
Right. He didn't want to argue back with her because
she's yelling
as the aggressor.
Exactly. And she's the one yelling at being attacked. And he came, and she's in this literally damsel in distress, this head garment. And so that's what I really want to point out to people. This is a way deeper issue than BJ. You know what I mean? This is like showing, and I hate to go there, but how, white people can weaponize the police against black people, whether it's a barbecue or whether it's in the Diddy line. That's exactly the privilege she used. instead of just being an honest person. And like I said, she talks about God would have let her in anyway, but instead God is really showing the true colors. You know what I mean? Because Mike got in because we all vouched for him and are like, this is not right, you know? And and in defense of the marshals, they don't want any problems. They're just like, guys, we don't want any arguments. We'll literally, if you do, they're like, you will be kicked out. I don't want to hear anything. Like, that's how they talk.
But Sam, you even said like when you explained it to them, they were listening. But when the black people were trying to speak up, they didn't really want it. They didn't even really want to hear it.
No, they, like I said, they pulled me over to talk to me about my dog. And I made sure there where I said, like, look, you know, Mike was ahead in the line. She's lying about that. That's not fair. And he's like, okay, and I'm not saying I'm the one who made it happen at all, but I think in conjunction with all of us, the women sticking up for him, the RJ, you know what I mean? Like, that's why they let Mike in, thankfully, because he deserved it, you know? Mike,
eventually one of the marshals. I was saying eventually one of the marshals, who's the one that works in the equipment room. I asked him originally, can you please say something? He said, oh, that's the boss. I can't say anything. But then he saw just how petty she was acting. It was like, she just saw her face. She was like, you better tell him. You better tell him, yep. Like, she had a smirk on her face. And that's when the marshal that works in the equipment room said, like, hey, he was here. He's been here for like 5 days in a row. He was here. So that was like the final straw for him to actually let me in the line. It took all you guys and one of the marshals to say it for him to actually let me in the line. And then I wasn't even guaranteed to get in because the first 11 got in. Then they had like at least one little spot for me to get in. And I was 12th in line. She didn't give up her spot or anything. I was just 12th in line.
No, and she came in the elevator and she was just so... Like, that's the thing about it, where she acted like she was being attacked. But one thing I remember specifically when I came back from talking about my dog, I came back in the line, and like I said, she was like, I'm being attacked. And I remember looking at her and the way she was looking at the women, and, you know, Queen, all them, they're looking at her like, this not really much history. You know, like, we know this. And she's sitting there.
With an attitude and there,
rolling. Like, I'm surprised her neck didn't fall off. Shocked her eyes didn't roll out of her face. And so, you know, I don't know. This is such a blessing. Thank you, Mike, that you came on here, because that's all I'm trying to do, is show that, like, we're not crazy. Like I said, this didn't happen to me, but it happened to people that it shouldn't have. And we shouldn't be called bullies when she's in fact bullying and defaming people.
So I heard she made some video and deleted it or something.
I don't know. What is that?
What?
I didn't hear she made a video and deleted it. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't hear about that either.
Yeah, I don't know. I just heard. I mean, I can't go off. That's just what somebody told me. I have no idea if she actually made one or not, but they made it sound like she made a video.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
Ask Queen about it. I'm pretty sure she said something about she made a video the next day.
Okay, let me see. And then also, what's interesting, I had pulled up some stuff from this where, let me see, some of her wow, the beginning of your video is right on the money. I was one of the few who waited in line several times and saw the schemes, the scams in that group within the group. It irritated the hell out of me. They were YouTubers and Diddy supporters doing whatever they had to do to get in. They'd be friendly at first, but once it got closer to entry time, they'd act like they didn't know you or try and skip or claim they paid with no proof. I lost my cool at one point and decided from then on to just go to the overflow room. I was over the line in the clicks. Now, this is somebody who was in her comments, you know, and this kind of gives you the idea, like we were saying, this line is not, it's not cute. It's not pretty. You do have to fend for yourself. This is her latest. I just want to show people. She just did a post 16 hours ago. Many others witnessed these demonic freaks scheming and finessing the public line throughout the supposedly public trial, thereby stealing people's rightful federal marshals protected me here. Federal marshals protected me. I have no reason to lie, But them, maybe they thought they'd get away with these despicable and simply unforgivable behaviors unnoticed. Not on my watch. I will be saying everything they tried to do with me with receipts. I don't stop. I won't back up, and I won't back down no matter how many crusty, dusty, and musty freaks you try to send out for me. Not one of them can stand up to my boss. You ready for this? Not Jeff Bezos, the Lord. It might have taken months. It might have taken months, but they will absolutely face accountability for what they've done, period.
That's what I talked about, taking months to months.
He said it might take months. And guys, I just want to point out, the truth doesn't need months. I've given you guys all these receipts. As soon as it hit the airwaves and she did this, I got on and went live. And then Andre found it. Like you said, by God, I only have 9,000 on YouTube. My main following is, I got 1 million on TikTok, but YouTube, I don't. So the fact that you found my video, you know.
So I see somebody ask Erica for her opinion.
That somebody was threatening somebody on a live stream and you saw this?
So I want to say this. I think you guys are mixing what happened with Tisa with this situation. Hopefully y'all watch the video from the beginning and get it straight, because we did mention Tisa, but not in regards to this. We're talking about
that surprise witness.
Yeah,
we're talking about that surprise witness claiming,
and she was not threatened.
No.
You guys are hearing it. She was not threatened.
Right. There's no
account. The black man even said that he felt like, oh, well, I don't want to say anything back, this being a white woman. And he suppressed himself and made himself small to make her feel comfortable while she had a whole attitude. If you guys can't understand that, and listen, this is a black platform, so I'm not going to make it comfortable for white people. No offense, Sam.
No, I get it.
That's it. Like that, and that's the thing too. You guys will come over to a black person's platform and feel like y'all can tell us to what to do and what to. No. When you come over here, you come in polite, respectful. Like, you can't just come over here thinking that you're just gonna run shit. Because if you're over here, you need to be over here trying to listen to our perspective. What you're basically trying to do is trying to shun all of our opinions and our experiences, not just our opinions, but our experiences walking around in this world as black people. You're trying to ignore it and negate it and pretend like it's nothing. Like, oh, what are you guys complaining about? You will never fucking understand.
Amen. Right. And also, Andre, I just want to point out, was it any of us that made a post about her awful behavior? No, we all took it. We took it just like, wow, I took it away as like, that was just a really ugly experience. You know what I mean?
First, and mind you, I wasn't even going to talk about it. And then by the grace of God, I seen your video. And then I was like, let me listen to what's going on. And I hate to even say this, but I was trying to check out the women and see like, oh, well, you know, were they like ghetto or something like that? And absolutely not. But the fact that I had to even say,
it doesn't make a difference, you know?
Right, it doesn't make a difference. That's the thing. But I hate that I even thought that.
Scientists, astronauts, or they're whoever, you know, the dude who sells you weed. The point is here is, who is BJ? We give her all this levity. She's a lawyer, Billy. She's a lawyer. She's in what law firm? Where is she practicing? You know what I mean? It's like, and I am able to do that too. If I walk into a place and people think I own it. So I understand my privilege. That's why I just don't take advantage of it. But when I see people like her taking advantage, like the only time you'll see me go full Karen is like at a hotel if the AC isn't working and I'm going to try and get an upgrade or a free night.
Yeah. I can't stand a hot room. So yeah,
I'll call the manager. I'm not scared to call the manager. But
he will call a manager on you.
He weaponized it. And then what she did, which is interesting, is because we didn't have it on our hearts to report this to our social media. I don't do this type of content. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to go and say, oh, you guys, this Karen was there. You wouldn't believe. What's her name? She's awful. Here's a picture of her doxing her. No. But when she came out and did this, that's when we were like, okay.
Yeah,
So,
her post wasn't a response to the videos, you guys. Her
no,
post was the first strike. And she
yeah.
posted those women picture, and it gave the perception that these women were just bullying and harassing her, and she felt afraid for her life. So that automatically put me on edge. I was like, wait, is she trying to say like because she was all shaken up and she'll get through it or whatever she
And
was
that's what's
saying.
dangerous is the afraid for her life. How do you know one of us doesn't have something like, oh God, I can't have, oh God, she's all of a sudden I'm in trouble with the law now. This
Right.
woman is saying that I attacked her and they're believing her. Like, it's so dangerous how she weaponized, that in that moment when she was just lying,
Because what is she planning on doing, after a months or whatever? Like, is she going to release the video of the situation, or is she
That's what
saying
I
like
want to
she's calling
say.
the police? Like,
Right.
what is it like that's taking months?
Right.
That's what I don't understand.
So the Lord needs to help her prepare.
That is, yeah.
Hey, Mike,
whole
did you
thing
have
is
anything else to add? I don't want to leave you hanging on the phone, but I so appreciate you
Oh yeah, shout
coming
out
on
to
and
Mike.
helping out with this.
Oh, we appreciate it. No, I think that's all. I want to ask you a question. I want to know, what's her name? Mango?
Yeah, Rotten Mango, Stephanie Sue.
Was he actually there during the verdict day?
No, she was not there. I believe it was like there's another girl, Tiffany. She has an assistant there. I did not see Rotten Mango there. And also, I asked Charlucci, she claimed that Diddy turned around and said, I know you. Charlucci says, no, there's a lawyer who Diddy knows there supposedly was behind her or something. He said, yeah, I know you. I know, hey, like, I know you kind of thing. So now maybe what is true, right? A lot of these social media influencers like to take, like, when I was in the courtroom, Diddy literally heart emoji. I'm like, oh my God, Diddy heart emoji'd me. I was like, holy crap. We looked and he's like, hey, like saying hi to us. Be like, oh, Sam, you're fanning out. I'm like, I'm not fanning out. I'm like, I just didn't expect for Diddy to say hello to us and give me a heart emoji. So, it's just everything inside that courtroom. That's the thing I find people can't totally understand is when you're inside that room, when you hear the witnesses' voices, when you see how the jury's looking at them, when you see how great these lawyers are and how they speak, you understand why Diddy got off. And that's why a lot of us who work with the truth were able to, I'm not, and that was one thing. BJ came out. So he was not guilty of the RICO, like I predicted. And I was just like, you're so awful. I never said that, even though I've been saying it a lot longer. It's not hard.
Right.
And the truth, it's not hard,
Yeah, and one thing that I wanted to mention too was that everybody thinks like if you were saying like, oh yeah, Diddy was not going to be charged with a RICO, like automatically that made you a Diddy supporter, and we need to separate that. Like basically what you were going through, and Sam and many others were, you guys are just talking about the facts of the case and what you heard and your perception. Right. Like you weren't in there trying to be all like, because basically if you went in there being all like, yeah, Diddy's going down, he needs to go down, then you were one way. If you were objective and was like, hey, I want to listen to both sides, then you went in with a different perception. And if you went in with that perception like, hey, there's some things that are not right and I'm seeing some inconsistencies, then the case turned out how you thought it was going to be. But if you were gun-ho all like Diddy's going down and this and that, then yeah, you were going to be left disappointed.
Right.
And because you couldn't see anything but Diddy was guilty.
Right. And I told people it was like a sports game, like a Super Bowl. Like you might hate the team who's winning, but they have the money for the roster. They got all the money. They got the best players up against this, little like it was like the dream team versus Spain. You know what I mean? Like in the Olympics, it's people don't understand, OJ, we all know OJ. A lot of people think OJ did it, but OJ was free after that. He was not charged. So while is that right? No. And even OJ is even way different because and a lot of people, I don't know, I'll just say this. I'll mention some of my friends were telling me this was almost like a buck breaking that they did to Diddy in the public eye, you know, like to take him, to parade him out, his lifestyle, everything about it, while not really having the appropriate charges. You know, that was one of the things the court officer inside told me. He says they over indicted him, you know?
Yeah, they definitely did.
You know, because that's where I got a lot of my information was from people who are inside and they understand this, and I'm listening to it and I'm seeing the body language. And like Brianna Bangladesh, when you're like, oh my God, he hung somebody over a balcony. It's fucking crazy. This is crazy. But then once you see the facts and the story and you're like, did he most likely, you know, one of the guys said, try to hold up 2 jugs of water just out like this for how long? You know, Diddy's not strong enough or tall enough potentially to hold her up on that balcony. And then even she, you know, and that was when everybody turned on her, is when we heard that. We're like, dude, he held her over that balcony. But then cross-examination, and there was a thing where he allegedly squeezed her mini breast so hard that she had bruises, but that was a lie, and she admitted on the stand that that was a lie. So then the jury is like, well, she lied about that. It's just so people don't understand, these lawyers are so good.
And you even talked about Jane Doe when you were all like, you know, she did these freak offs, but she got $100K after Turks and Caicos and the bracelet.
And it's hard. Yeah, she's like, yeah, and this is how she talked. And again, I want to make sure people know I'm never like shaming victims. I think a lot of people feel the problem with this is, how are victims ever going to come forward now? If we can't get Diddy, but I think we need to be mad at the government for bringing this case against him, because this is a civil lawsuit where all of these victims should get their day in court and get the money out of him if these are true allegations that are proven in a court of law. But what's not fair is victims feel this was a hit towards them, but it's really the government overcharged Diddy, and they're to blame for bringing all these people out on something that a comedian could kind of almost guess, you know.
And mind you, everybody said they didn't want to testify too. Like they would ask, like, why are you here? And they'd be like, oh, I was subpoenaed. Like a lot of people would say, I was subpoenaed.
And they don't understand.
Anybody said, yeah, I wanted to be here.
No, nobody was like, screw you. They all were very being careful. Like, yeah, no, but I mean, it was some of the best times of my life. You know, they all explained the drug use, the ecstasy was euphoric. It was you never heard like, oh, it was devils and da da da. No, like, it was just like Jane Doe explained that she got $100,000 budget to plan a Turks and Caicos trip. And people don't hear how she talks like this. And it was blissful. And we walk on the beach. And yes, the Molly, and it's just love. And the waves are crashing. And we go and we eat a private dinner. A private dinner. And the whole time.
Wow.
So you're not hearing, it's not like now Dawn Richard, gut-wrenching. Like that was gut-wrenching to hear. And that was so gut-wrenching because Miss Westmoreland totally destroyed her. She's like, you were kidnapped for 5 days, but you went home every night? How does that work?
Yes, Westmore. Yes, she was a beast. She got
Brianna Bangladesh, she destroyed her. That was the thing I forgot. Because there was a picture, September 26th, a picture taken on her iPhone of a wound about this big, red, looked like a softball size. And she said, but Diddy was in New York performing at a tribute show. How is one person in 2 places at the same time? No further questions. And we all walk in that courtroom like, oh my God, did he dangle her over the balcony?
Damn, that just put doubt in everything.
She took the picture on the day it happened, but he was in New York. So it's just, that's what people don't understand. If you're in there and you're an honest person, you're just like, I get it. He's an awful person. The Cassie video, when they would play that in the courtroom, every time they'd play it for the intent to get us emotional, be like, he's disgusting. He kicks her. He slams her hip. Right. You know, he treats her like a rag doll. It's disgusting. But that's what's so bad about it. That's not what he was on trial for.
Right. And I think also, too, with the.
Hey, Mike, sorry, should I let you go?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you still had him on the. Oh my!
I still have Mike on here. I feel bad.
This man still had Mike on the phone.
That goes to show you how nice and patient Mike is, you guys. This woman was not attacked by how she said several U.S. Marshals had to intervene. On what? Yeah.
The only time he intervened was to let me in line.
Ha! Did you guys hear that? The only time they intervened was to let Mike in line.
Oh, okay.
All right, Mike. Thank you so much. I'll definitely hit
thank
you,
you,
man. We
Mike.
got to keep in touch.
Oh, for sure. One quick thing I just want to say with the mango lady.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When you watch her video, her last video, she's making it sound like she was there. She describes in detail what she saw in the courtroom. And from that you're telling me, when I was there, I don't remember seeing her at all those last 4 or 5 days.
She was not.
If you go to her comment section, everybody's like, "Oh, you're in danger. Go watch that," because what she said about, "Oh, I know who you are." I mean, TMZ even reported that she said that at some point.
I know.
I think she should stop lying to her audience, saying she was there when she wasn't. She wasn't. Maybe her assistant or somebody.
Her assistants were there. Anytime Rotten Mangoes is not there, and they're usually first in line because they pay a lot for the line setter. They were the first people I met, and they were #1 in line. Those women, yeah, I mean, they got tons of followers, lots of cash. So Rotten Mango, yeah, Rotten Mango. And so, yeah, Stephanie Sue was not there, but she has her reporters who are in there doing it for her. And also,
she has a team. Yeah.
And let me just point this out, too. Even though she's Asian, she's still able to Karen out. You know what I mean? She still has the complexion that provides her way more protection than that was supplied to these women or Mike. You know what I mean? And she cries wolf, and she's kind of one of those who's in there crying wolf, where I'm like, lady, I have police reports filed against people in line. Like, I'm not sitting, I'm telling people, guys, this happening. I'm like, pray for me. I'm not trying to be like, oh my God, y'all, you're never going to believe what happened to me. You know, like, I'm just telling it like it's happening. But Stephanie Sue and people like BJ they're not in the trenches. Yep. All right. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you. Okay. Peace. So, wow.
Well, Sam, one thing that I want to say before we end the show is that I appreciate when you were talking with Armand and how you said, like, how when you cover the case, you have to have some kind of responsibility with it. And you just can't just say anything, because with the whole Danette situation, when you said he got knocked out, and you realize, like, so are you and Danette, that guy, are you guys cool?
No.
Okay.
Actually, so what I did when I made that report, it went crazy viral. Gene Deal was not happy with me. Danette was not happy with me. At that point, Danette and I were friendly. And I quickly made a video and people like, Sam, that's not true. He didn't get knocked out. And then I went to Emily Knows Everything, who was in the elevator, and she said he didn't get knocked out, but he got pushed back and his diamond necklace or bracelet got ripped off. So I quickly went and I said, guys, I was wrong. He did not get knocked out. There was this altercation. I just want to let people know, as a journalist does, if you make a mistake, you know, I'm not sitting there like BJ trying to lie. I want you guys to believe me and trust me. So I was like, oh, and understandably, the white dude in the suit, I took all that. You're lying on a black man and this and that. Gene Deal wasn't happy with me. I apologized to him and everything. And that's all I can do as a man, is if I make a mistake, I apologize for it. And I make a video to do better. Danette made a video on YouTube, got his YouTube taken off. He made a video about me like, that cracker, I hope he kills himself and dies and all this. And I'm like,
no, he did his accent. He dies.
I mean, I know Danette. He started in the line going off because he thought I skipped the line. Like, everybody I show up, they think I skipped the line. White man skipping the line. You white colonizer, you're doing your public defender shoes and you're a white man. You're just trying to see it. I'm like, Danette, here's my line sitter. I made a video last night with him. He's like, okay, I'm sorry. And that's what Danette does. He gets under your skin when you first meet. And then he's like, I'm sorry, I like you. And there's a video you can go back and look where that day Danette kissed me on the cheek. He liked me so much.
Really?
But then after the Gene Deal altercation, he went full on, I'm a racist white man. And so that's why I'm very protective over this. to let people know. I know I look like the Donald Trump. I know I look like that white guy, and it's hard to understand. There's not a lot of people who talk like me. So it's like I'm a unicorn. There's not many like me, and that's okay. But I'm trying to spread this message, so it's not so shocking.
Right. And then, I gotta ask you, what were your thoughts on the whole baby oil thing? Did you get rubbed down with baby oil?
No, hell no.
Okay.
I was in my $4,000 suit. No way was I. Armand wanted to. There's a video. It was like, Sam, we're gonna rub baby oil on you. I was like, no, you're not. I was like, no, you're not. I'm a grown ass man. You're not in my suit. And I made a video defending Armand because Armand, look, he was #1 on this thing. You know what I mean? Like his YouTube coverage. Right. Everybody respected him. I respect him. And like he made it, and I went to his birthday party. He invited me to that, and
that's cool.
And like I said, he that's where he told me, and it's not like something I don't know, but I understand when I come into black circles the way I look, so I have to be reintroduced into the culture, even though I've been in the culture. But I understand the way I look, people think a certain way about me.
Like, who are you?
Right. So I have to show people who I am, but it is a lot of listening. I've learned so much over the years by making mistakes, saying things that maybe were racy and like, hey, Sam, you can't say that. I'm like, okay, now I get it. I know. And we move forward.
And you learn from it. That's the thing.
Exactly. And so Armand, it was just the whole baby oil thing. I was really sad for him because he took that hard. People don't understand. When we get all this hate online, it hurts us. And that's the thing. I'm not trying to spread this hate to this BJ woman, get followers taken away. I just wanted the truth to be told because she was lying. But it's like for Armand, everybody in the world is like crazy Diddy supporters. And like, no, that's Armand. It was our shaking champagne after the NASCAR race. It was our pouring the bucket of water over the Super Bowl coach. You know what I mean? And I certainly wasn't going to. And let me tell you, I was so exhausted and I was conflicted. I'm like, Sam, you're a comedian. They're getting nationwide coverage. Like, and you'll see me. I'm in the video filming it. I was on my live because I was so drained by that point. I'd been there for this entirety. I was like almost crying for real. Like how BJ was trying to act. I was emotionally drained. I was so tired. I've literally been fending off attacks. I've been having to take verbal. I have random live streamers filming me. I had my dog with me. It was such an emotional override that I was like, oh, Sam, you should be in there, Secret Service Sam showing the world. But I'm glad I didn't because I saw that negative reaction it got. But I just want to let you know, Armand is amazing. You have to understand, we weren't celebrating Diddy out there. We were celebrating we're done. You know what I mean? Right. We've finished the Squid Games. We've finished the end of this book that we've been waiting to hear the ending of. We've all spent I spent probably over $10,000 of my own money covering this trial, and I have very little to show for it. I have a guy.
Right. And that was my thing. I gotta have something back in return.
I mean, I don't make money off TikTok. They stopped paying me during the Diddy trial. I've had 70 million views and I've made $61 in the last 2 months on TikTok. That's why I'm trying. Please follow me here, you guys, on YouTube.
Yes.
That's why I'm trying.
And I tagged them. Look in the description of the video, you guys.
It's at Secret Service Sam. I have kids. I'm trying to bring, because they tell me YouTube pays and treats creators right. I just found out yesterday. Better. I have a duplicate account of mine that has 500,000 followers.
Yes. So did you find out who that was, or are you working in the process?
I'm trying to file this copyright thing against. I'm just exhausted. I've been working so hard on this.
You need your money for that.
Yeah. Look at this.
Isn't that crazy, y'all?
This is a fake account, and he has 511. He has more likes than I do. I have 8.2 million. Like, what? He just takes my video and uploads them.
That is crazy.
I'm done.
And that person's probably monetized, making money and everything.
They stopped paying me. Like, I'll show you too my receipts. This is how transparent I am.
Now, did they stop paying you because they thought you were a duplicate? Because if you are a duplicate, they sometimes will stop.
Yeah. You know, that's something That's something I've been thinking about, but I don't know. I can't figure it out every time I do the AI. You guys can see the number estimated rewards out 0. Keep an eye on that.
Wow.
And look at the views. Look at the views on the other side. It's all views and engagement. Do you see these?
All that money. 0,
I
0,
made,
0.
I mean, $70 million or 70 million views should have been about $70,000. And I'm just at my wit's end. And like I tell you, and then we really get attacked by this BJ woman who's making money on these apps. I'm literally trying to feed my family. So when people want to know, Sam, what's your motive? Like, I just do this for the people. I do this for the truth and that I can report, and I want to sell out stadiums with my stand-up comedy. But look at this. I'm still rolling.
That is crazy. That is a lot of money that you miss. Yeah, stick to YouTube. YouTube is the way to go.
That's why I'm bringing my energy over here. And I appreciate you having me on your show because you got a great following, and I'm just trying to build mine. And I would love to do this whenever. We can talk. It doesn't have to be this gossipy stuff. I think
if we can just have a random conversation,
right? If there was a jury, and I think a jury of our peers are here, I think we can kind of close the case and let you guys decide. Like, I'm done. No further questions. That's my closing arguments on BJ and that surprise witness. I have brought my witnesses. I've brought my testimony. So you guys now have to decide who you believe in the court of public opinion.
Right. Well, I'm the judge, so she's found guilty.
Nice. Okay.
Here we go. Guilty.
On all charges.
Case is closed.
Rico, bitch.
Rico. She got a Rico. Not a Frico, Rico.
It's a Karen Rico. It's a Karen Rico.
Karen Rico.
Yes,
she's being charged with a Karen Rico. Karen Rico.
And do you know I did a song that is a Karen song?
No, I didn't know that.
If you wanna close on it, it might crack people up. I don't know. Or I don't know if it's music, is it copyright?
It's
a song. I'll do it. I'll be like, Karens. Talking about Karens, give them light, they grow. Karens, talking about Karens, they know. K-A-R-E. Oh, no, wait, I'm messing up. I need my music. Man, I'm messing up. K-A-R-E-N. These are the bitches that ain't your friends. I said K-A-R-E-N. These are the bitches that just ain't your friends. I go like, Tamitha, Rebecca, Renee, these are the bitches I need to stay away. Barbecue, Becky, Central Park, Karen. These are just a few of the bitches that I be sharing now. Karens. Talking about Karens. Give them light. They are. And I was like, yeah, Karen, they think they're wiser. Karens. Talking about Karens. They'll call the supervisor,
Oh, I have to
check it out. I got a whole song on that. I did a video, so it was funny. I've been busting these Karens for a long time, and so this is just thank you, Your Honor. We respect your judgment. Thank you so much for exonerating Diamond, JC, Queen, Mike. Thank you so much, Your Honor. This was a beautiful federal case, and you handled it excellently. Thank you very much. We rest now. Yeah.
All right,
thanks to everybody.
We're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Thank you so much, Sam. Again, thank you just for coming on, clarifying. Like you said, this isn't like going to continue on and on. Like, this is done.
Yeah.
We got the story. We had the witnesses. Case closed. No more.
Yeah, there's nothing more to say. Yeah. And also, too, I look a little sweaty. I was working out before this, so just so people know.
Oh, okay. Good. Oh, do you have a show tonight?
No, I don't have a show tonight, thankfully. No.
Oh, okay. I was gonna give you a plug, but okay.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm not. But hey, go see Munderay's at the Improv every Monday night. He's there, and it's an excellent show. And so yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on, man. I love this.
Cool.
This was great.
No problem. And you guys, that's the end. Please go ahead and check out Sam. I'll put his link in the description of the video. Also share it in the comment section. So thank you for coming on, Secret Service Sam.
Thank
you guys have a good one. We out. Deuces, everybody.